Have you ever had the feeling that you're playing a game without knowing the rules? Or worse, that you know the rules, but you can no longer bring yourself to pretend they make any sense? There's a peculiar loneliness that comes with this. It's not the loneliness of an empty room, which can be quite peaceful. No, this is the loneliness of a crowded party, of a full office, of a family dinner table, where you look around and see everyone performing their roles with such earnest conviction, and a voice inside you, a very quiet but persistent voice, whispers, "This is all a play, isn't it?" And you feel a sudden, chilling sense of alienation, as if you've woken up from a dream that everyone else is still having. You smile, you nod, you say the right lines, but you feel like a ghost at the feast. You start to wonder, is something wrong with me? Am I breaking? Am I perhaps going a little bit mad? But what if I were to tell you that this feeling of fracture, this sense of dislocation, is not a sign that you are breaking down, but that you are, in fact, beginning to break through? What if this creeping madness is the first glimmer of a profound sanity? This is the first and perhaps most unsettling sign of a great awakening, a deep and pervasive feeling of disconnection from the world you once called normal. It feels like a bug in your programming, a glitch in the matrix. But it isn't. It is the system administrator finally starting to notice the code. You are not losing your mind. You are beginning to find your awareness. The problem isn't that you've stopped understanding the game. The problem is that you are, for the very first time, seeing it for what it truly is. This brings us to the second sign, which flows directly from the first, a sudden, almost painful sensitivity to inauthenticity. It's as if you've spent your entire life watching a black and white film, and someone has suddenly flipped a switch to full, overwhelming color. You now see the subtle calculations behind a forced smile. You hear the tremor of fear in a boastful voice. The small talk at social gatherings, once a harmless lubricant, now feels like sandpaper on your soul. You see the carefully constructed personas people wear, the successful professional, the perfect parent, the carefree artist, and you no longer see the persona. You see the immense, exhausting effort it takes to maintain it. You see the cracks in the masks, and it doesn't make you feel superior. It fills you with a strange and deep compassion, but it also makes it almost impossible to participate in the charade. Your own mask, the one you've worn for years, suddenly feels heavy, suffocating. You try to put it on, to play your part, but the strings have been cut. Your tolerance for pretense, in others, and most importantly, in yourself, has evaporated. This isn't cynicism. Cynicism is the bitter conclusion of a player who has lost the game. What you are feeling is clarity. It is the perception of a soul that is no longer willing to trade its truth for a comfortable lie. And naturally, when you can no longer tolerate the play, you lose interest in the prize. This is the third sign, a profound loss of ambition for the things the world tells you are important. That career ladder you were so diligently climbing, it now looks like a hamster wheel in a gilded cage. The accumulation of more possessions, more status, more validation in the eyes of others, it feels like trying to quench a deep thirst by drinking salt water. The hunger is gone. This can be terrifying because our society is built entirely on that hunger. We define ourselves by our goals, by our striving. Who are you, if not your ambition? Friends and family may look at you with concern. They might say you've lost your drive, that you're becoming apathetic. They are trying to call you back into the game. Because you're stepping away from it is a subconscious threat to their own participation. But you haven't lost your drive. You have simply stopped driving in a circle. You are parked on the side of the road, looking at a map for the first time, realizing that the highway everyone is on leads nowhere you actually want to go. This isn't apathy. It is the beginning of wisdom. It's the quiet, revolutionary act of asking, what is the point of winning a game I no longer wish to play? This naturally leads to a period of retreat. The fourth sign, which is so often misinterpreted as depression or antisocial behavior, is an intense craving for solitude and silence. The constant noise of the world, the opinions, the news, the chatter, the demands, starts to feel like a physical assault. It's not that you've come to dislike people, it's that you can no longer stand the static. You are trying to tune into a very faint, very subtle signal from within, and you cannot hear it over the deafening roar of the collective. So you pull away. You find yourself drawn to nature, to long walks where the only conversation is the wind in the trees. You sit in a quiet room and feel, for the first time, not loneliness, but a sense of coming home. Society labels this as a problem to be solved. You should get out more, they say. But the soul knows what it needs. A seed cannot sprout in a hurricane. It needs the quiet, dark, undisturbed earth. You are not running from life, you are running toward the source of it within yourself. You are creating the sacred space required for your own truth to finally be heard. This solitude isn't an escape, it is a pilgrimage. Within this sacred silence, the great thaw begins. And this is the fifth and perhaps most confusing sign: experiencing intense and unpredictable emotional swings. One moment, you might feel a wave of ecstatic joy looking at a cloud. The next, a profound, bottomless grief might wash over you for no apparent reason. You might find yourself weeping at the beauty of a piece of music, or boiling with a sudden rage at a small injustice. The world will tell you that you are unstable. A doctor might offer you a pill to smooth out these peaks and valleys. But you are not broken. Imagine a frozen river, solid and stable for years. The awakening is the spring thaw. The ice is breaking up. All the feelings you have suppressed, denied, and buried for a lifetime, all the griefs you didn't allow yourself to feel, the angers you were told were inappropriate, the joys you felt you didn't deserve, are now coming to the surface. It is a messy, chaotic, and often frightening process. The river is turbulent and unpredictable as the chunks of ice crash and grind against each other. But it is a sign of life. The river is beginning to flow again. You are not going crazy. You are becoming emotionally alive, perhaps for the first time. You are learning to let the river of life, with all its currents and eddies, flow through you, rather than trying to dam it up or freeze it over. Of course, as you change, the world around you must react. The sixth sign is a significant shift, and often a painful shedding of relationships. The friends you shared drinks with over complaining about your jobs suddenly seem to have nothing to talk to you about. The family members whose approval you once craved now look at you with bewildered eyes. You are no longer playing the same character, so your old scene partners don't have their cues. The conversations feel strained because the old scripts no longer work. There's a deep, unspoken chasm that has opened up. You didn't create it with malice. It appeared naturally as your own frequency began to change. You are vibrating at a different pitch now, and those who are not in resonance will naturally, and often without any drama, simply drift away. This can be heartbreaking. It can feel like a profound loss, and in a way, it is. But it is not a punishment. It is a clearing. You are making space. You are letting go of relationships that were based on the old, sleeping version of you to make room for connections that are based on the truth of who you are becoming. The solitude you craved earlier is now being created for you. It is the universe's way of ensuring you have the space to grow, unburdened by the expectations of a past that no longer fits. You are learning that the price of authenticity is sometimes the comfortable company of those who prefer your illusion. And here is the beautiful paradox. As you disconnect from the superficial structures of the human world, you begin to experience the seventh sign, a deep, overwhelming sense of connection to everything else. You feel a profound empathy, not just for people, but for animals, for plants, for the earth itself. You look at a tree and you don't just see wood and leaves, you see a slow, patient, living intelligence. You watch an ant carry a crumb and feel a sense of kinship with its tireless purpose. The artificial barrier between you and the rest of the universe begins to dissolve. You realize you are not a visitor on this planet, you are the planet. You are a manifestation of the same life force that animates the stars and pushes the grass up through the concrete. This feeling is not an intellectual concept, it is a visceral, bodily sensation. It's the feeling that the wind is your own breath, that the rain is your own tears, that the warmth of the sun is your own love made manifest. This is the great compensation for the social loneliness you felt. You may have lost your connection to the game, but you have gained a connection to the entire cosmos. You have traded a role in a play for a place in the universe. This culminates in the eighth and final sign, which is the ultimate liberation. It is the dawning realization that you are not your story. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are not your name, your job, your successes, or your failures. For your entire life, you have identified with the character in the story. This bundle of memories, beliefs, and anxieties you call me. You have lived as the wave, believing in its desperate individual struggle against the vast ocean. But now, you begin to sense that you are not the wave. You are the ocean. The thoughts, the feelings, the stories, they are like waves that rise and fall on your surface. They are events that happen to you, but they are not the substance of you. You are the silent, spacious awareness in which all of these things appear and disappear. This is the great secret. This is the freedom everyone is seeking. When a wave of anxiety comes, you no longer say, "I am anxious." You say, "Ah, a wave of anxiety is passing through." When a thought of failure arises, you don't identify with it. You witness it. You are the sky, and the thoughts are merely clouds drifting by. Sometimes the sky is full of dark, stormy clouds, and sometimes it is perfectly clear and blue. But through it all, the sky itself remains unchanged, untouched, and utterly free. You stop trying to control the weather, and you discover the peace of being the sky. So you see, these 8 signs are not symptoms of a breakdown. They are stages of a profound and sacred breakthrough. They are the growing pains of a soul shedding a skin that has become too small. The feeling of being an outsider is the first sign that you are finding your way home, to your true self. The sensitivity to falsehood is the dawning of your own truth. The loss of worldly ambition is the discovery of a deeper purpose. The need for solitude is the call to meet your own soul. The emotional chaos is the heart reawakening. The shifting of relationships is the clearing of your path. The connection to all life is the realization of your universal nature. And the detachment from your story is the final, liberating act of remembering who you truly are. So the next time you feel that ache of loneliness in a crowd, that frustration with the game, that sense that you are somehow different, don't rush to fix it. Don't assume you are the one who is broken. Pause, breathe, and ask yourself a different question. Don't ask, "What is wrong with me?" Ask, "What is this feeling trying to show me? What truth is trying to be born through this discomfort?" That feeling is not your enemy. It is your guide. It is the North Star of your own awakening, pointing you away from the frantic, noisy, fabricated world and toward the vast, silent, and authentic peace of your own being. You are not going crazy. You are simply, finally, Waking up.